Physical trauma is painful, mental trauma is even worse. Physical scars show healing, mental trauma doesn't heal until you find the cause. And this is what we're going to talk about next. Hey, what's up friends? I hope all of you are doing well and staying healthy. Now this is part 2 of mental health. Part 1, it's all about depression and finding stability. If you haven't seen part 1, I'll make sure I pin it in the comments below. During the last 8 to 10 years, I had to completely focus on finding health. And it was a tough journey that I am still working on. But now I have somewhat of a normal life. I get to enjoy my friends, go out, and even support myself. However, 10 years is a long time. And many people see the physical trauma, but they don't necessarily see the emotional and mental trauma that occurred during those 10 years. And I remember feeling like I went into a coma, and all of a sudden, 10 years later, I woke up. And my jokes were irrelevant. Everything that I was into was no longer pop culture. Mentally, I felt much younger than I really was. All my friends moved out, got married, went out of states. Now you add a completely different lifestyle that people don't understand, and what do you get? Stress, social anxiety, and mental trauma. So what is emotional trauma? Where does it come from? Before I answer this question, we need to understand what is sadness. Sadness is temporary. Sadness is normal. Sadness has a reason. Maybe a family member passed away. You lost your job. A relationship ended. All this can lead to sadness. Now, mental trauma is a mental and emotional block caused by a traumatic event that keeps an individual from living a healthy lifestyle. Fears, insecurities, phobias, and more can also come from past life events that's impacting your present life. Now, emotional trauma typically starts at a young age when you're absorbing a great amounts of information and believe and trust everything adults tell you. So if your parents or teachers tell you you're not good enough, or you were molested, or live in a hostile environment, all these things can lead to emotional and mental blocks that will keep you from developing properly into adulthood. And the difficult part is that we suppress these events and pain in order to have a normal life. The problem is we're not living to our potential, and all of a sudden we're 30, 50, 70 years young and we're trying to heal mental trauma, but we can't because we don't know where it comes from. Now, if that wasn't hard enough, your emotional trauma could come from a past life, because the soul energy can carry trauma from life to life. And if you're not spiritually in tune, you could have trouble finding healing. However, there's people that can help you and assist you if you need it. So you're probably thinking, Victor, please stop lecturing. I get it. Past life, this life, trauma. How do I start healing my mental and emotional trauma? Well, here are my 2 tips. So tip number 1, we're going to create what I call a why journal. These are the 3 things you're going to need. 1, block an hour where you can focus and meditate. 2, choose an emotion or feeling. For this example, we'll use inadequacy or not being good enough. And 3, your journal. This could be your PC or just a notebook. And if you're still having trouble because of your teachers and parents, you might have to work on letting go and forgiving them. Even if you don't have a conversation with them, just give it to the universe and tell yourself that you are good enough. Eventually, you'll feel better because 1, you're putting in the work, 2, you're forgiving them and having peace in your heart, and 3, you're reprogramming your mindset. Alright, so here's a quick example of dealing with inadequacy. I have my title and dates, and the date is very important because you might want to revisit this feeling or emotion several times. And when you have the date, you can actually see how much you have grown or developed during that period of time. Now, for this exercise, I don't want you to worry about grammar or punctuation and over analyzing. All I want you to do is think
feel, and write it down. Always try to get to the core as much as possible, and remember that the purpose of the why journal is to understand where our trauma comes from. And just like visiting a psychologist, it might take several visits to understand your trauma and find a solution. Now, let's look at our example. I have my title, inadequacy, and I have the basic question that I want to find a solution for. Why do I feel like I'm not good enough? Well, when I was in school, my teachers told me that I wasn't smart enough because I couldn't read well. Why? Well, English is my second language. I grew up in an urban environment where my friends didn't care for school and I was learning English while learning class material. Why? My parents didn't think highly of me and thought that I wasn't going to graduate from high school, and school was really hard for me in the beginning and I was getting D's and C's. Why? Based on our environment, they thought I was going to be a product of my environment, and all other kids made fun of me, and my confidence started to diminish. Here, if I was still having trouble reading well, I could work on it. Then maybe I need to work on self-development and improving and finding out ways where I could improve my confidence.
And the second tip might be kind of unique, but growing up, one of my favorite animes was Avatar, The Last Airbender. And this is a beautiful, beautiful cartoon with a lot of wisdom for kids or adults. Now, in this anime, there's actually a section where a guru goes through the unblocking of chakras. And what I want you to do is watch this video in my channel. I'll pin it in the comments below. And I want you to start unblocking some of the chakras. This may take you days, months, if not for sure years. What I like about this video is that it's very simple and it gets you thinking about some of the emotional and mental trauma that you had, and it helps you how to release some of that emotional pain. All right, so if you have any questions or concerns, please leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, I wish you all a lot of love, a lot of growth, and a lot of health. Until next time.